Hello, my name is Afradi Salmon Mwijage from Edukea Tanzania. Welcome in this history class, Form 1. Welcome to start the new topic, which is the second topic according to our syllabus. The second topic is known as the evolution of man, technology, and the environment. So, Form 1 students, welcome in this class to start the new topic as had been projected on the board. So you have to pay much attention on this, the topic which is very important to understand, and it is important and the possible comes in the questions during the next examination. So just pay much attention. I welcome you to start our topic. The topic is evolution of man, technology, and the environment. So we are going to see the two things. Three parts, which is evolution of man, technology, as well as environment. So by starting with the definition of evolution of man. Evolution of man is a gradual development of plants and animals from a simple form to more complex form. It means that evolution of man is the gradual change or the gradual changes of development of plants and animals. Specifically here we touch on animals from a simple form to a more complex form. So you can see that man was changed from a simple form to a complex one. So, and that process was taken gradually. It means it did not come at once. It was taking the process gradually. So it changed from one stage to another stage up to when the man became the complete or origin man. This change led to the existence of plants and the animals. It means that this change led to the existence of plants and animals that are different from the original plants and animals. It means that this change that's called the evolution change, it means led to the existence of plants and animals that are different from the original plants and animals. So let us see the series of evolution of man. There are some scholars who have come up with different theories which have been classifying and explaining about how man was evolved from one stage to another up to the last stage when the true man was appeared or emerged or existed. So the different theories, specifically we have two main theories which have been explaining us the evolution of man from the simple form to the complex form. The theory of evolution tries to explain the origin of man by describing the changes that our ancestors underwent until they were like modern man. It means that the theories of evolution try to explain the origin of man by describing the change that our ancestors underwent until they were like modern man. There are two theories which attempt to explain the origin of man. So in our topic we are going to look at the two theories which attempt to explain the evolution of man. So in these theories, the first one is the theory of creation. The theory of creation. This theory will mainly touch on the creation of human being by God. So the first theory of creation, this theory explains that there is a supernatural power that creates everything. It means that this theory explains that there is the supernatural power, or there was, by that time, there was a supernatural power that created everything. This supernatural power is God, and we believe that this supernatural power is called God, and refer from the Holy Bible and the Quran, etc. It means that once we refer on the biblical knowledge and the Quran, it will show us how God created everything, including human beings or man, environment, and everything around the world. So as I've told you that the supernatural power is God, and by referring from the Holy Bible and the Quran. For example, from biblical knowledge, Genesis chapter 1 verse 26, it says that means Genesis chapter 1 verse 26, it says that God created man by using soil. At first they created a man, and then later a woman. So you can see that according to the biblical knowledge, that the man was firstly created by God. So by referring the Genesis chapter 1 verse 26, it says that God created man by using soil. It means our origin is soil. So God created us by using soil. At the first, it means God created a man, and then or later, a woman was created. That's according to the creation theory. And these two creatures established their relationship, and this marked the beginning of human family. It means that these two creatures means man and the woman, which were created by God using the soil. It means they established their relationship, and this marked the beginning of human family. So we can see that man become into existence, or become into being. Let us see the second topic, the second theory. On the first theory, you have to remember that we deal on the creation. It means God created the man. And the second one, we will see how to explain about the origin of man. The second theory is the theory of evolution of man. It means the second theory is the theory of evolution of man. It just show or explain how man changed from one form to another form up to when the man become the modern or true man. So this theory just cover almost our topic, the theory of evolution of man. And the theory of evolution of man was proposed by an Englishman known as Charles Darwin, who lived in between the year of 1809 up to 1882. This was the Englishman called Charles Darwin, who proposed the theory of evolution of man. And he suggested that the man is partially in different stages until he became the modern man. The theory says that man's species had been changing gradually from lower stage to better stage due to environment. It means that the theory states that, or say that man's species has been changing gradually from lower stage to the better stage due to the environment that surrounds him. So we can see that man has been changing from lower stage to the better stage according or due to the environment that surrounds him. It means that changing goes hand in hand with improvement of method of obtaining food, clothes, and shelter. It means that the changing of man the changing of man goes hand in hand with improvement of methods of obtaining food, clothes, and shelter. The gradual change of man is called the evolution. It means that the gradual change of man is so-called the evolution. It means the changing gradually. The first man belongs to the family of primates, which included ape, gorilla, monkey, and chimpanzee. It means that the first man belongs to the family of primates. It means that was the first stage in the evolution theory, which include the creatures like apes in plural, gorillas, monkeys, and chimpanzees, and these were the creatures which comprise the primates are the first stage of evolutionary theory. And these animals lived in the forest walking on four limbs and their bodies covered with hair. It means that these animals lived in the forest. They were not living in the bare land as we live now. It means that these animals, primates, apes, chimpanzees, and gorillas, were living in the forest and walking by two rims, or they were walking by using four rims, and their bodies covered with hair. It means that their bodies were full covered with hair. Because of environmental changes and the diminishing of forests, they started to live in open grassland. It means that as the environment was changing time to time and the diminish of forest, they started to live in open grassland. And the environment forced them to adapt to new of work. It means that the environment that they were changed or shifted from to, it means forced them to change the way of working, or the style of working was changed because of the environment that we are shifted to. So the four rings, instead of working, become special for tool making and using tools. It means that the four rings, this one, or these ants, which we call now ants, these were four rims. So according to the change of environment, mean that those creatures started to change and to manipulate the tools as well as to make tools, because the environment has changed and the ways of working were changed, and so four rims become free from working. It means that the four rims become free from working and they started to use the hind rims. The working is known as bipedalism. It means that the working by using two rims, or the working on two rims, is so-called bipedalism. Bi, it means two. Bipedalism. Pedal is just feet or rims, and lism just the process. Lism. Bipedal. It means using two rims in the process of working. So that's we call bipedalism. The process or the wood process of working by using two rims is so-called bipedalism. And this is the most occurrence question in national examinations. So take careful about this question. It means that the process of working by using two rims is so-called bipedalism. I think we are together, class. So let us see the stages of man's evolution. It means that the evolution of man it means that the evolution of man partially in different stages. So we are going to see those stages of evolution of man. The first stage was primates. Primates included ape, gorilla, monk, and chimpanzee. It means that the first stage in the evolution of man included ape, monkey, gorilla, and the chimpanzees. These were the creatures which comprised the first stage of evolution of man. Let us see the characteristics of primates. The first characteristics, it was their bodies were covered with lots of air. It means that their bodies were covered with lots of air. It means their bodies were covered by lots of air. In the second one, they walked on four limbs. It means that these creatures, monk, apes, chimpanzee, and the gorillas, were walking on four limbs. It means they were using all four limbs on the process of walking. And the third one, they lived in dense forest. It means that the primates were living in the dense forest. And the fourth one, they had poor mental abilities. It means their mental abilities or the thinking capacities of the primates were poor. So that was another characteristic of primates. And the last one, they totally depended on nature. For example, ate low food. It means that they totally depended on the nature of the environment. It means that they depended totally on the environment or on the nature. For example, they ate low food, uncooked food like roots, fruits, the meat, uncooked meat, and force. So that was the first stage of evolution of man. And the second one is Australopithecus African family. Australopithecus African family. This is just the difficult word to pronounce, but just take it easy as it is. Australopithecus African family. This stage started about 2 million years ago, before the birth of Christ. It means that this stage of Australopithecus African family was started, or this stage started about 12 million years ago before Christ. And when primates changed to near man, it means that when primates changed to near man, and this stage divided into two. It means that the Australopithecus African family is divided into two stages. And the first one is Zinjanthropus. That was the first stage under the Australopithecus African family. And the second stage was Homo habilis. Let us see the first category of Australopithecus African family is Zinjanthropus. In this stage, the creatures means the first one, forelimbs were free from walking. It means that the forelimbs were free from walking. The second one, the hind limbs were used for standing and the body balance. It means that the hind brains, hind limbs or hind feet were used for standing and balance of the body. And the third one, man started to design, make, and use tools. It means that the Zinjanthropus is when man started to design, make, and use tools. And the last one, man become skillful. It means that the Zinjanthropus creatures become skillful. So that was the first category under Australopithecus African family. And the second category is Homo habilis. Homo habilis, it means to live between 1,500,000 years and 75 100,000 years before Christ. It means that the Homo habilis lived between 1,500,000 and 7,500,000 years before the birth of Christ. That was the year when Homo habilis lived. And Homo habilis became more skillful man because he was a systematic tools maker. It means that the Homo habilis became more skillful man because he was a systematic tools maker. It means that Homo habilis became more skillful than the Gigantropus creatures, and he was using systematic ways of making tools. Another one, Homo habilis believed to be direct ancestor of modern man. It means that Homo habilis believed to be the direct ancestors of modern man. That is being believed. He had bigger brain and he was more systematic tool maker. It means that the Homo habilis had a bigger brain than the Gigantropus, and he was more systematic. He was more systematic tool maker. And the skull of those creatures were discovered at Olduvai Gorge and Omo in Eastern and Rudolph in Kenya. It means that the skull of that creature, which creature, Homo habilis, were discovered at Olduvai Gorge and Omo in Eastern and Rudolph in Kenya. It means they were discovered in East Africa, in Tanzania and Kenya. Let us see the third stage. We have started with primates. The second is Australopithecus African family, and the third one is Homo erectus. Homo erectus. Man was full moving upright. Here it means Homo erectus, the man was full man was full moving or walking upright by standing. He was using the hind limbs for moving. He became more skillful tools maker than Homo habilis. It means that the Homo erectus become more skillful tool makers than Homo habilis. And it's firstly have been dug up. To mean that it's firstly have been dug up in Orogosaile and near Lake Turkana in the Kenya, Olduvai Gorge in Tanzania. It means that the fossils of Homo erectus or the remains of Homo erectus have been dug in Orogosaile and near Lake Turkana in Kenya, as well as Olduvai Gorge in Tanzania. This is the place where the skull or the remains of Homo erectus have been dug up. Let us see the fourth stage. The first stage of evolution of man, which is Homo sapiens. The fourth stage, Homo sapiens. Let us see the characteristics of Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens is a true man of today. It means that Homo sapiens is the true man of today. Me and you, we are Homo sapiens, and that's why in biology, specifically in the classification of living things, that's why the scientific name of human being is Homo sapiens. It means that this is the scientific name that marks the human being. So Homo sapiens is the modern man, and another characteristic is Homo sapiens are the larger brain in size. To mean that the modern man, Homo sapiens is a large brain size. Also has less thick jaws. It means that Homo sapiens has less thick jaws. It means that this one is just less thick compared to those previous stages. Homo erectus, Homo habilis, the Gigantropus and others. Another, he was highly skillful man. It means that Homo sapiens was highly skillful man. And the last one, he made tools by using stones and bones. It means that the Homo sapiens was using the stones and bones to make tools. So these were the 4 stages that the man has been personally to become the modern man. It means that these were the stages of evolution of man. So we have done on the issue of stages of evolution of man, but there is something to note. The theory of evolution of man, or the theory of evolution, has been supported by archaeologists Dr. Ricky in Olduvai Gorge in 1959. It means that the theory of evolution of man is being supported by the archaeologists, so-called Dr. Ricky, who discovered the skull of Homo habilis in Olduvai Gorge in 1959. That the supporter of the evolution theory. So that's where about the 4 theories, I mean 4 stages. There is basic characteristics of human evolution. To me, that the first one is development of man's ability to design, make, and use tools. Here there is the misplacement of another stage. There are almost 5 stages. 5 stages. The last stage is Homo sapiens sapiens. This is the last stage. Homo sapiens sapiens. Homo sapiens sapiens is the modern man, and Homo sapiens is believed to have evolved into Homo sapiens sapiens about 50,000 years ago. It means that the Homo sapiens sapiens have been evolved into Homo sapiens sapiens about 50,000 years ago. And this man has a large brain and greater intelligence. It means that this Homo sapiens sapiens has a large brain and great intelligence, more than all creatures that ever happened in the evolution of man. And this man has large brain and great intelligence. So this the drawing showing the evolution of man. It means that these were primates, the first stage of evolution of man. The second one is the Zinjanthropus, as you see here. This the Zinjanthropus, the primate, the first one, the Zinjanthropus. Homo habilis. This is Homo habilis. These 2 Homo habilis and the Zinjanthropus, they fall under Australopithecus African family. And the third stage, this was Homo erectus. The first one is Homo sapiens, and the modern man is so-called Homo sapiens sapiens. Homo sapiens sapiens. So these are almost 5 stages of evolution of man. 5 stages of evolution of man. There is basic characteristics of human evolution, as I have already told you that there was development of man's ability to design, make, and use tools. So let us see the basic characteristics of human evolution. It means that the first one is development of man's ability to design, make, and use tools. It means that the basic characteristics of human evolution, here the development of man's ability has been witnessed to design, make, and use tools. Also, ability of man to work on 2 rims, so-called bipedalism. It means that ability of man to work on the 2 rims was been witnessed in the evolution of man. And the third one is ability of man to think. It means that the ability of thinking or capacity of thinking by man has been increased or have been with that creatures. And the last one is ability of man to domesticate plants and animals. I mean, these were the base characteristics of human evolution. So until there, I would like to give the exercise at this mark the end of our today's class or lesson. So I would like to give you 3 questions which you have to perform, students of Form 1. The first question is mention 5 stages of evolution of man. And the second one is list 2 theories of evolution of man. The last one is dash dash was the process of man working on 2 rings. So this marks the end of our session. I would like to thank you for watching from the beginning until the end. I wish you the good preparation and good studies in your journey. So proceed learning with us, Edukea Tanzania, for the best service. So thank you for watching, and I wish you the good time.